Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana everything, and welcome back to the channel and the match review as we look at how FC Barcelona fared away to Dynamo Kiev and Ronald Koeman's team recording a victory. As we know, the match ended 4-0 in favor of a youthful FC Barcelona, who on the balance of things were the winners on the night, as Dynamo never really troubled Ter Stegen despite having opportunities to do so. As we did in our last match review, we'll be looking at how the two teams set up and performed and talk about the positives and negatives of this performance from a Barcelona perspective, as well as picking a man of the match, something that I'll be introducing in our match reviews from here onwards. Let's first look at the way that the two teams set up. Barca set up in Koeman's favorite 4-2-3-1. But it was a heavily rotated 11. As you know, we heard even just prior to Barcelona traveling to Kiev that they would leave Frenkie de Jong and Lionel Messi behind. But also on top of that, we still Oscar Mingueza starting at centre back, Junior Firpo coming in at left back for Jordi Alba, Martin Braithwaite coming in for Antoine Griezmann up top, and also Francisco Trincao coming in for Ousmane Dembele. So all these guys got to start, I think, for the first time this season, or with the exception of Trincao. Dynamo, on the other hand, set up more or less as we expected, with just one or two players from our predicted 11 missing out. Now, this was very much a game of two halves. The first half is one that Dynamo would have been pleased with. They sat deep like we predicted, and they targeted the spaces between Barca's centre-backs and full-backs. They were able to limit Barca to no shots on target during this first half, whilst also looking the more dangerous team, as they were only hampered by the quality of the final ball on the break. The second half, though, saw them really just fall apart, as they seemed less capable of coping with Barca's play, and they eventually got blown away. Continuing with the theme of two halves, though, was Barcelona. Now, in the first half, Barca were moving the ball around pretty neatly and swiftly. However, though, despite the magnificent ball retention and ball retrieval, more on that ball retrieval later, there still seemed to be an air of reluctance to shoot, and also the lack of any penetrative passing or clever off-the-ball movement. The few occasions where a clever run was made and an incisive pass was played, the player hesitated to pull the trigger, and as a result, the first half ended without Boschan doing any serious work really. The second half, though, is where it all came together for Barca. Players were making more clever runs, and the incisive passes started to be played, and crucially, shots were being taken. And it was the first shot, I believe, of the second half, taken by Serginho Dest, that opened the scoring. Some brilliant running as well off the ball by Serginho Dest to find himself in that position. He finished with, a striker's touch. From then on, though, the whole team just seemed to get filled with confidence after that goal, and all of a sudden, Barca were looking like scoring anytime they ventured forwards. Braithwaite then made it 2-0 5 minutes later, tapping in a near-post flick from Oscar Mingueza at a corner. After that goal, Koeman then made a host of changes, bringing on Jordi Alba, Ricky Puig, and Antoine Griezmann. But the Braithwaite show didn't stop there, It didn't just stop with that tap-in after he had assisted Serginho Dest, by the way. See, he also went on to win a penalty after some brilliant play by Jordi Alba, who was wonderful on the night, I should add, playing a first-time half-volleyed cross into the Dane. Braithwaite made it 3-0 from a penalty spot, and I was, at a point thinking like, man, maybe Griezmann should have taken that penalty, because we all know how his confidence has suffered, and he's generally been unlucky not to score many goals. But fortunately, his moment came late in the 92nd minute. was a wonderful team goal. Alenia once again involved. It was a slide drew pass into Jordi Alba, who then cut back to that area of a pitch where he usually finds Messi waiting. But it was Griezmann this time, and the Frenchman controlled and slotted the ball home. So now, moving on to positives and negatives from the game. As usual, I will begin with the negatives. Negatives this time around, though, are in pretty short supply. So much so that I feel like I'm just nitpicking at this point. But here's what I have. First nitpick or negative was Junior Firpo at left back. Now the thing I have with Firpo here is that he's either mistiming his runs or his pass, and it renders his team unable to properly stretch the opposition. It's something he has to fix, especially loose touches on the ball. I've seen quite a few of those now. Something he has to fix if he'll ever become Alba's replacement. My other nitpick would be that Felipe Coutinho struggled to have any meaningful impact on proceedings now. So you could probably argue that he was out of position, but I don't know if that still holds up when we look at it, especially from the perspective of what's coming up as my first positive, which was our man Junior Firpo again, but this time playing left center back. After Longley was subbed off for Jordi Alba to come on, Junior Firpo shuffled over to left center back and then proceeded to have, I think, a better performance there than Longley had in the same match. The implications could be big. Could we have finally found extra cover for center backs? What did you think about Firpo at left center back? My next positive was the press. It is so beautiful to finally see Barcelona pressing again. The last time I saw that happen, Enrique was on the touchline yelling at everyone to run. So seeing that full press, that was a full breath of fresh air. Something that was heavily facilitated by youth. A throwback to the Atleti match review, and to remember how, despite injuries, Barca had silver lining of youth, and well, that's exactly what it showed last night. Oscar Mingueza, Carles Alenia, and Serginho Dest all looked like seasoned veterans, barely setting a foot wrong all night. The message was clear. These kids are ready to step up and help the team as starters, not just subs. Fingers crossed that Koeman doesn't go full Valverde and treat these guys like precious china where once the geezers are fit. Final positive is Koeman's subs and team selection. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Koeman as a Barca manager, but I will give credit where it is due. He made good subs that affected the game in a positive way for his team. I mean, even Mateus Fernandes looked just like, next level. Like, you guys can't be playing against me. And finally, guys, we get to our man of the match section. So, this one's probably the hardest decision I have had to make. The stats and headlines will say Martin Braithwaite, which I can understand. He did score 2 and assist 1, but I think for me it was between our youngsters, Carles Alenia and Serginho Dest. And it's really splitting hairs, but I'm going to go with my man of the match being Serginho Dest, slightly edging out Alenia. Well, that's the match review from me, guys. What did you think about the game? What did you think about Barca's performances? What did you think about the performances of the young players who got a chance tonight? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll keep you up to date with everything about Barca. And until then, Forza Barca.